who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Encounter. My name is Joe Sellepack. I'm your host today for Encounter. One of the programs of the Council of Churches is our jail ministry program. Jail ministry is very important. It has been a long-standing program of the Council of Churches. Chris Mogensen, our jail ministry chaplain, often is involved in a lot of different things in the community. One of the things that we try to promote through the council has been reentry programs for folks who have been either released from prison, released from jail, and trying to connect people to healthy patterns of behavior outside of those various institutions. It's a very important thing for us to be able to talk about. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as about an art show that is going on First Friday in October, which will deal with showcase some of the artwork that prisoners are currently doing and some of the things that they're learning through their art. But to talk a little bit about reentry first, we have a couple of guests today. Jeff Pryor, who is the reentry coordinator for the county. Yes. And Greg Johnson, who is the pastor at Cornerstone Community Church, but also is has worked with the Cornerstone Group, which is a reentry focused citizens group that kind of meets out of the church. So, what is it about reentry? What are some of the things that your organization does, Jeff?
Our reentry program assists men and women returning home from New York State correctional facilities, and we help them overcome barriers or obstacles that prevent them from being successful in their integration process back into the community. So we work with them upon release. Actually, we start working with them pre-release, up to 2 to 3 months to build that relationship. So when they come home, we can find out what they want to do, what their goals are, and then assist them to get the programming or the services that are needed upon return home.
And what would some of those barriers be that people encounter as they're coming out of
Some
prison?
of the barriers that we experience are folks that have a mental health diagnosis, being able to access treatment quickly upon release. So we work closely with the releasing facility to ensure there's a discharge plan that if they're on medication, they continue that medication and they're able to access it. People with substance abuse issues that need to get into treatment, and issues such as even something as simple as getting your identification, a New York State ID card, can be very taxing and hard to get if you don't have the appropriate documentation upon release.
Well, it would seem to me that in prison they have a regimented life. You know, they are told when to take their meds, and
absolutely,
and everything is pretty regimented. And then once you get out of prison, the regimentation isn't there, so to speak. And so the idea is to keep healthy patterns of behavior that you learn in prison active outside of prison.
Exactly. And it's that structure that is no longer there because there's no one telling you what to do, how to do it, or when to do it, that translates to, if I don't do it myself, no one will do it for me. So as a coordinator, we work closely with our participants to help ensure that they get the services, the case management, whatever level of need is assessed, so they can continue the regiment process and keep that structure in place. Because without the structure, then there will be failure, and then they'll end up back in prison.
Yeah, very good. And Greg, what is the Cornerstone Group, and what are some of the things that they're trying to do?
The Cornerstone Group is a group of people who have an interest in the overall community, the Broome County community. It is consists of persons from various agencies, and reentry is one of the agencies that we're affiliated with. Persons come together to work on issues that are prevalent in the community. And for the last 3 or 4 years, one of the main issues that we have sought to work on and deal with is people who are coming out of prison helping them find footing and grounding and a network so that they can have some resources and be successful. Because if they're not successful, then they're going to either be truant or go back to prison. And so it's a win-win situation when we can help people who are in need of help.
And Jeff, do you serve on the Cornerstone Group?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. And so this is kind of like a grassroots attempt at trying to keep folks from going back into prison and to help our community be a safer place for everyone, not just those who are being released, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, excellent. And so what is it that that's coming up on First Friday that we kind of are looking forward to?
Well, First Friday in October, the Cornerstone Group, along with a couple other sponsors, Reentry and Binghamton University, Social Work Department, will be sponsoring what is entitled "We're All Serving Time." And what we thought we might do is look at how persons who are either incarcerated or have returned to the community show the humanization through art. And right now we have quite a bit of art. It's going to be an art show with various types of arts, paintings, drawings, poems, things of that nature, to help people see that there are human beings that have been incarcerated, and these same human beings are the very people who are returning to our community, and they have feelings, they have emotions, and they have needs as well.
And
where will these be showcased? Like where downtown?
The University Downtown Center, the School of Community and Public Affairs Social Work Department on Washington Street is where we will be on October 2nd for the First Friday Art Walk, and they'll be in the main atrium, the second floor as well.
Well, and we have some slides to show folks about some of the artwork to give them a kind of a taste of what the artwork will look like. This is a pastoral scene. It has a mountains in the background with a rising sun that is coming over the mountains, and then water that is in front, and you see a nice reflection of the sun in the water itself. And this was a unique, like when I was going through the various pieces that were going to be demonstrated, I was caught by this one. Mm-hmm. This one, it's really hard to picture somebody in prison drawing or painting this picture. Mm-hmm. Given the severity of their back, mm-hmm. where they're at. Mm-hmm. What can you give me a little bit of feel about what this might mean for a person that's coming out of jail?
One of the things that art does when you're painting, and just talking with people who have been incarcerated, it's an outlet. It's cathartic to be able to utilize your mind to do something different, as opposed to being in prison and regimented by the programs that are there. So especially this is a very cathartic piece that allows a person to think outside of their current circumstances.
There's a lot of freedom in this one. Mm-hmm. It's saying, depending on whether you look at it as a sunset or a sunrise. I mean, I look at it as a sunrise, and when I saw it, I saw that, mm-hmm. and I thought to myself, well, this is a person whose life is ahead of them, mm-hmm. And they're looking at it as hope and freedom, and there's a lot of beauty in the picture too.
Mm-hmm. It's a strong image. It's a very strong image.
Well, and not all of them were of pastoral scenes, and I thought that some of the other artwork was kind of interesting, and perhaps a little bit more in keeping with what we would think about somebody in prison. And this next piece I thought was pretty profound. It's one that I think you know the artist, Jeff.
Yes, I do. I've met her quite a few times. She is expressing she's behind the fence of the prison and the barbed wire on the top. You can see the sun in the background with a little bit of orange in it. but she is incarcerated, and you can see on her wrist, it looks like she's wearing handcuffs. So to be chained within a fenced gate, and the sad demeanor look on her face, the look of perhaps hopelessness at the time. And we just kind of see the look on her face is very, very sad. The moment that she was probably feeling some of the trauma coming over her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it is a traumatic experience to be locked up. I remember when I was in seminary, I went to Cook County Jail just to interview for a position with that was an internship, and I had to go through the lockup,
Yes.
you know, and you know, being not only frisked but having your basic life on display was just a tough thing to have to do, even as you know, a professional or somebody who's trying to get in that kind of line of work. But it was just it was profoundly, like, I can still remember what it sounded like when the gate slid behind me, and I can still remember the lock going through, and then being caught between two locked gates inside this small little confined area, and I was only in it for a minute. But I just can't, you know, the idea of being confined for that length of time is very, very tough. And this also shows, you know, I don't know if, you know, I also felt a little remorse coming through this painting too. But it's just a really profound piece of artwork, I think.
And it also shows the ability, the talent that is also there. It's a way to, yes, express what's going on. It's an outlet to express what's happening. It communicates what's going on from within. It also is an opportunity to share the talent that the individual has, especially with this one as well as the first one that we saw. We have some talented people, but it's overshadowed by the crime. It's overshadowed by some of the dark things that they've done, and so here we see their natural born ability to express themselves through art and display their talent.
And the next one is kind of interesting. This is like another piece. It's called The New Horizon, or Where is the Horizon? Is the title for this, and it has 4 pictures that are in a row, and it starts off with a view of a sunrise at a prison looking through a bar, and then it goes to perhaps the like more of a evening scene up in the top left corner, and then it goes to a black and white of almost like you can see the artist's hand coming in. They're drawing a road, with a little pastoral scene behind it. And then the fourth one in the bottom corner, you see that the road is in the guy's head and the prison is in the guy's head. And then there's a light that goes off in the background. And it's kind of like his, you know, that you find out that the horizon that you thought was all about the sun rising or the sun setting was actually in the guy's head, and all of a sudden, you know, there's this light that comes on, and it's pretty profound in that in just the order that it comes. I thought that was a very interesting piece, because these are the horizons, and the biggest horizon that we have to face is for anyone, regardless of whether it's a person in prison or a person outside of prison, a person who's a CEO of a corporation. The biggest horizon that we look at is internally. Yeah, and having that light go off. What do you? That was like a very interesting realization to me when I saw that one.
I think just the depth and perception of somebody looking inside themselves to see perhaps where they've started behind the bars, and then as they see the future and things start to come to life for them, to realize there is a future for me in this. And that's when that light for me came on, looking at the picture. The road that he drew, or she drew, in the third top right corner, that's now inside them in the lower right corner photo. That's maybe the path to the end of perhaps incarceration and the future of their new life.
Yeah, and it's a really good picture of what reentry is trying to do for people too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we have another picture, which is I thought this was kind of an interesting picture, because you can